Today we are here with a 2002 Toyota Prado. This is the 5V engine, and we've just done an engine overhaul on this one. The previous owner had not taken care of this thing very well. Oil changes were a problem and it was burning oil excessively, and we've just taken care of that, and now it's running butter smooth, no more burning oil, and it's put together very well. If you look at this engine bay, look how clean it is. This engine, would you ever think that this engine was out? This is the way an engine should be put back together when it is taken out. When the owner saw this, he was very shocked. He was wondering, did we even remove this engine? No broken clips. Everything is in place exactly the way it's supposed to be. This is the quality of work that you get right here. Now, there's a couple of interesting problems that this car has. Let's go inside and I'll show you. Here we are in the car, and this car has got 3 separate problems, which we are going to do 3 separate videos for, because they're all very interesting problems. And stick around for all those 3 videos, because you are going to be enlightened by what you will see in those videos. There is a 4th problem, and you'll hear it when I start the car. There's a sound that comes from somewhere under here. I have not diagnosed that yet. If it's an interesting one, I'll bring you along on a 4th video. So let me show you the 3 different problems it has. So we start the car, and that's the 4th problem that you hear. Hear that sound? That buzzing sound is coming from somewhere in this region, and it only happens when you turn on the car. I haven't diagnosed that yet. If it's an interesting one, I'll bring you along, but I don't know about that. But here are the 3 problems that it has. First problem is the power window has a problem. So we work on front right, that's working. Front left, that's working. And then the rear right is working. There it is, goes down. But look what happens with the rear left. Nothing doing, window remains up. But if you hit that switch over there, the window actually rolls down. So that's the first problem, and I can guarantee you it is not what you would expect. So that's problem number 1. Problem number 2 it has is this. Right now we are idling. Let me just close these 3 windows. Right now we are idling, and we're idling fine, and I'm going to hit the brake. Watch what happens when I hit the brake. That's really cool. Now, I've not touched my gear. All I'm doing is hitting the brake. So I'll let off on the brake. I've let off on the brake. Let me hit the brake again. And also the reverse camera comes on. That screen is messed up, but the reverse camera is on. Let me let off the brake. You can see it turns on the reverse camera, turns on the reverse light and buzzer. And if you look at the shifter here, also turns on the reverse. Let me hit the brake again. And you can see it also turns on the reverse light there. That is the second problem, and that's the problem we are going to address in this video. Okay. Third problem that this car has to do with the air conditioning. This screen is rotted out. This is an American who uses this car, and you know Americans love their air conditioning. To give an American a car without an air conditioning is blasphemy. So we have to fix this, because if you hit the air conditioning, now that the screen is rotted out, we cannot select any of these modes. So the low is not working, the mid is not working, the low mid, the mid is working, but you can see it's even on the wrong place. I have to put my finger quite far to select these. And up here, same thing. My modes, I cannot switch them properly. And this side doesn't work because it has got screen rot. these screens, the old screens, are susceptible to screen rot when these cars get to about 20 years old, which is right about now. This is a 2002 and we are in 2025. So this is quite something that you can't avoid. I do not like touchscreens, and new vehicles seem to be coming with touchscreens exclusively. This is going to be a problem, even these old vehicles. So what we're going to do is we are going to completely convert this into the tactile manual button. This car came in two variants, one with the touchscreen controls. This is the luxury model of the 120 Prado, and then the other standard model came with the tactile screen. So we're going to remove this useless thing here. This is a mini disc player. By the way, did anybody ever listen to mini discs? That was a technology that seemed to only have hit in Japan. It's interesting. I have a mini disc somewhere around the house, and this unit actually works, but it's obsolete. We don't listen to it. So we're going to remove this, and we are going to shift from this digital touchscreen to the tactile one. And again, the process is not as simple as just slapping the unit on. You have to use a wiring diagram. So we'll do that in video number 3. For now, let's address this reverse issue. So you put the key on again and hit the brake, and you can see we're reversing. So let's put that off for now. So put the hit the brake. Now sometimes we hear the buzzer, sometimes we don't. Like right now, I'm not hearing the reverse buzzer. Okay. Now the question is, does the shifter work? And the answer is yes. So if I start the car and I'm going to put this thing in reverse, make sure my handbrake is up. Yep, it is. So let's put this thing in reverse. Right now that's just my brake. You can see it's still in park. Let me put it in reverse, and we're going to let go of the brake. You can see we still have good reverse, and that ABS light is also on. I don't know if they're related. It could be a different thing, but I don't like layering diagnoses on top of each other. So we're going to fix this issue of the reverse being triggered by the brake. So there's my brake, off, on, off. And it's crazy. You may wonder, does this happen also in drive? Yes, it does. Let's put it in drive. Now my handbrake is pretty good, so I don't have to worry about this car moving. So we're in drive. Let me hit the brake. As you can see, it's in 2 gear modes at the same time. Now the problem is, if it does this 2 or 3 times, it's going to default, and the transmission goes into limp mode, because you can't be in 2 gears at the same time. So the engine computer cuts down the power of the transmission. Now, this problem has been to a number of people to try and solve it. Nobody has been able to solve this thing, and we are tasked with solving it. So let's embark on this. Where are we going to start? Scanner is useless for us. There's no error, as you can see on the dash, and this dash is rotting out as well. You can see the display here is losing. Anyway, that's a distraction. That's not why we're here, but I think I'll repair that. So let's look at a wiring diagram, and when it comes to problems like this, you need to look at the diagram for the offended circuit, not the offending circuit. In our case, the offending circuit is the brake, and the offended circuit is the reverse circuit. Somehow there is voltage leakage from the brake into the reverse circuit. So let's take a wiring diagram. We're going to display the shifter reverse circuit, and then we're going to see how we can logically break it and trace where this voltage is coming from. We're in the service information. Let's go to the wiring diagrams here and quickly translate this. and we are going to go to transmission, shift position indicator. Remember, we want to start with a circuit that is being messed up, so the offended circuit. So what we have here, we have a 10 amp fuse that comes to the neutral start switch. Now the neutral start switch is not the shifter that you shift with your hand. It is actually what that shifter controls. In this case, it's bolted onto the gearbox. So we have park, reverse, neutral, drive, 2, and L. And we have a fuse here that sends power to this. So whenever you switch the shifter, you send 12 volts to one of these lines. That is why I was telling you, you can't have two of them being hot at the same time. It's impossible. And when that happens, your gear will default. So this by default is in park, but our reverse line is here. We go through a BG1. This is a wire-to-wire connection. Then we go through a junction, JC18. Then we go through the junction box in the dash. That's a fuse box on YL and YJ. And no, I'm not saying that incorrectly. This is not a T. This in Japanese is pronounced Yi. So YL and YJ. And then out of YJ, we come to another junction box here. And then we split. We go to 5A, and that comes down to the shift lever indicator. This is now where your hand is on the shifter. And these are the LEDs that indicate there. So our reverse LED is going to be here when that lights up. And then here, another 12 volt source goes out, goes to B. Let's go to the second circuit. And by the way, we are actually except 1G RFE. This is a 5V, so that's why we're using this one. So when we come here to B, comes to that red black wire, goes round, comes here to the combination meter and lights up our LED. Nice. Let's go back to this first page and let's think logically. We have voltage intrusion in this circuit. We could either be having the voltage being injected in here, or the voltage being injected here on this leg, or the voltage being injected on this leg. How do you know which is which? We have to find an easy point to get to so that we put a current clamp around and see the direction of current that will be shown on our current clamp. So let's start here. This is BG1, and then G31, and then YL and YJ. So this I know is my fuse box. But where are these two? Are these two easy to get to? Let's go to BG1. Let's come here to the connector view. And we are going to highlight here so we can search on this field. Control F. And let's search for BG1. Here it is. It's going to open another window. And BG1 is a milky white connector. But I'm interested to know where it is. So let's come here to our outfit location. And let's look for it here. BG1 is right here. So it's under the center console. I do not want to remove the center console at this time. I don't think it's necessary yet. We may have to remove the center console or even the dash. So I'm prepared for that mentally, if worse comes to the worst. So we know that this is under the center console. Let's look for G31. G31. And here it is. And outfit and location. G32, G31 is here. So this one is under the dash, and this is the top of the dash. So this wire actually comes here, under here. So in order to get to G31, dashboard needs to come out. Well, don't want to do that yet. Not yet time for that. So it looks like we will have to come here to our fuse box and go to EL or EJ, whichever is easier to get to. I hope one of them will be in the front. So let's look for EL or EJ. Now I cannot type Japanese characters, but I know the E's are all down here. Oh, Google has translated it. So let me just hit the translation. Put off for now. Show the original. Here it is, EJ. Open that. And we're going to go back to our translation. Okay. And let's open this. So this is EJ. It's on the instrument panel junction box. Let's see if this, sometimes this view is not the best. And just as I thought, so it just says this is an instrument panel junction box, and it gives all the E connectors here. So we have to go to the junction box view to see where all these E connectors are. So let's go back out here. Actually, let's close this, close that, go to the wiring diagram, go back to our translation and outfit diagram, relay location, and then we translate that again, and we want the instrument panel junction block. That's this one, and we're looking for EJ, and we are not lucky, it's not on the front. So front we have EA, B, D, C, and F. So at the back, let's go to this one. Oh no, sorry, this one here. So at the back we have EJ here and EL here. So you can pick one of these two. So we need to come here, remove this panel, remove the fuse box from its bracket, turn it back, and then we are going to go into that circuit. But let me show you my reason for doing that. Here is our junction block. My whole purpose for going here is to see, are we injecting voltage upstream here, or are we injecting that voltage downstream on this side? So I'm going to put a current clamp here after EJ, okay? If I put a current clamp here, we're going to turn the key on and hit the brake. If we see no current flow, but we see voltage on this wire, it means that voltage is either coming from this leg or this leg. If we see a current flow here going this direction, then it means that voltage is being injected from this side. Okay? Understood? So let's go down there, remove our junction block. All right, there's a fuse box drop down, and this is our line black and red. So let's peel it back. And we are going to put a current clamp right here. And then turn on, hit the brake, and see if we're going to get any current flow here. And if there is, what direction it's going to be at. So there's my current clamp. And I've decided to add a voltage on that line so that I can see how much voltage we are drawing, or how much voltage is being injected into the line. So that's channel A voltage, channel B current. Let me just zero this clamp. Struggling to get on the zero line. There is a speaker nearby, so magnetic fields and current clamps don't go very well together. Alright, Pico is running. I don't need to start this car. I'll just hit the brake and see the dash over there. So here we go. There's the brake. And there is our current and voltage. And let's just pause. And what we're going to do is filter. And check this out. We do have current flow in here, and the voltage injection is about 4 volts. Okay, and we do have a current draw going in this direction. Now the direction going up, that means the current is coming out of the junction box, because I'm on EJ and I'm on 2, and if the current goes out, it'll be positive. If the current comes in, it'll be negative. The current is going out. Now we have two possibilities. Either we have a problem in this box, or current is coming in, going through the box and coming out. In order to determine which is which, you're going to go on the other connector that comes in. So let's come here to a wiring diagram. Right now I am here on this line, and now I want to go on this side. So on EL, and I want to see if current is going to come into the box. So we have, by that one test, eliminated this junction, we've eliminated this leg, and we've eliminated this leg, and we have only this side of the circuit remaining. Okay, or the box. So let's put a current clamp here, and that test is going to eliminate the box, or it's going to eliminate this side of the circuit. Relocated the current clamp to the other connector. I've left the voltage on the same line we were before. Okay, let's hit the brake. There's the brake, and release, and let us pause. And as you can see here, the current is in the reverse direction. Let me just, there we go. Current is in the reverse direction. Oh, and if you're wondering why is our current so tiny, do you know the answer to that? Let me show you how small this current draw is. We're drawing just 23 milliamps, 12 milliamps, the difference. The reason is we are lighting up LEDs. So we're lighting this LED. Let me hit the brake, see that? And we are lighting that LED on the dash. LEDs take up very, very little voltage. So that very little current, sorry, that is why the current is that small. Okay, now we have determined that our draw is actually coming from this side. So there's nothing wrong with our junction box. We're going to move away from here, and now we are going to focus on G31 and BG1. Now let me give you a hint. When you have voltage injection, hardly will it take place along a conductor path length unless somebody was physically there and did some damage to the wires and potentially is causing a short circuit. Usually it takes place on a connector. The connector has gone bad, or there's moisture intrusion or something like that. So we need to interrogate this and this. What we're going to do is go to G31 and then find out what's listed on the circuits, and we want to find out whether the stop circuit and the reverse circuit are in the same connector, preferably neighboring pins. We're going to do the same with BG1. That may not make sense, but stay with me and I'll show you that just now. So let's come here, let's search for G31. We'll come here and open, and this is the beauty of using OEM service information. You don't get this with aftermarket service information. So G31, and the system wiring that's passing through there is a charging circuit, engine control, ABS, shift indicator, which you already know, that's what we are on, door locks, audio, backup lamp. Interesting. So we do have the shift indicator and backup. Oh, but that's the same thing. Sorry. We need stop lamp. Backup lamp and shift indicator are obviously going to be on the same circuit. Interior lamps and heater and air conditioning. I'm not seeing anything here that will affect us. ABS maybe, but we do not have VSC, so I'm not going to look in here. Let's close that out, and next one is BG1. Open this one, and BG1 we have starting engine controls, ABS with and without VSC. That may be something there. Diff lock, shift indicator, airbags, rear wheel, suspension, we don't have that. Engine immobilizer system, door locks, key removal, combination meter, audio and navigation, backup lamp, fog lights, heater, and accessory meter. Now, and we are out of options between these two. Now, this is a shift indicator. Why don't we go and look at the stop, not the stop lamp, the reverse signal, where it goes to the reverse lights. I'm interested in that. So let's go out of here, go back to the wiring diagram, and we're going to go to body and electrical, and then we're going to look for the back. Now I know it's this one. That's a bad translation. So this is the reverse, the backup lamps, and we are coming from IG1, coming through BG1, all right, going to the neutral start switch, and then we go to the back here. So I'm still not seeing how it's related, but supposing we have an injection here, you see, if these lamps partially illuminate, we may have an injection on this side of the circuit, and that will send voltage to BG1 instead of the voltage coming from here. So if that's the case, then we could either be injecting in G31, which we've checked, there's no possibility of that, or G01. That's interesting. So we have another junction, or O15. So G01 or O15. Let's go to G01 and see what kind of circuit we have there. G01. G01. And it's some fancy junction connector. These are the ones that have a screw on them. So let's see what we have. We've got ABS, rear wheel, suspension, door locks, power seats, heated seats, seat belt warning, combination meter, audio and navigation, tail lamp, and stop lamp. Interesting. So let's go to the stop lamp circuit here. And let's see where G01 is. Here. Now, I want to note where the pins are. Stop lamp passes through G01 terminal 19. Let's go to our backup lamp. G01 terminal 11. Now let's go to G01 physical pins and look at where 19 and 11 are. So we have 11 here and we have 19 all the way opposite here. So I don't see the way it's possible for us to inject voltage from here going all the way to here. So our voltage injection is definitely not coming from within this connector. But this connector can be useful for us because now I want to find out, is our voltage injection coming from this side of the circuit, okay, or from this side of the circuit where the lamps are? So let's go to G01 and disconnect it. Let's find out where it is. Go back to G01, which is here. And let's look at the location, instrument panel, and it is here. So it is on this passenger sidewall kick panel. Right, so I've removed the sidewall for the kick panel, and right here, down here, is G01. So it is this one here. So what we're going to do is disconnect it, and it doesn't look good on its own. It looks corroded as well. Let's disconnect that, and then we are going to hit the brake and see whether our injection is still going to be on the reverse circuit. So here we are disconnected, and we do have some corrosion in here. Some water intrusion in this car, and inside there we also have some corrosion. So though we have corrosion in this connector, this is not where our voltage injection is, because that is the reverse circuit over there, and the stop lamp circuit is all the way on this other side. That wire there, okay, red and yellow. However, since this is disconnected, we can isolate whether our injection is coming from the back of the vehicle toward the stop lamps or from the front of the car. So let me go hit the brake, and then we'll see whether our dash shows up. If our dash shows up with reverse, then our injection is coming from that side of the vehicle. If we do not have injection anymore, then our injection is coming from the back of the vehicle. Connector disconnected. Let's come to the dash, hit our brake, and we do not have any injection on the circuit anymore. So that tells me that we have an injection from the rear of the vehicle. And we can start this car, get the keys. Let's start it. And let's hit the reverse circuit. So there we have reverse, and I've done that with a shifter, and you can see we have reverse from the shifter. Okay, now that's important to note this, because it tells me the integrity of the wiring is good from the shifter through the instrument panel all the way to the combination meter and also to the engine computer. Okay, Now, since we have no more injection, we need to interrogate the back of the vehicle. Let's go back to our wiring diagrams and see what else we can isolate. Okay, we are quickly running out of options. Only connectors remaining is O15, but on the other side, on the stop lamp circuit, we have O14. These are two independent connectors. Impossible for voltage to jump from one connector to another. Even in the same connector, you can only jump from one pin to another, and that is aided by corrosion. So either somebody has tampered with the circuit at the back of this car, which we're going to look, or there is a problem with one of our bulbs. Oh, check this out. O19, O21. O19, O21. Oh, I missed this. Okay. So this combination lamp is fed by one connector and it distributes the power to the bulbs. Okay. Let's start with the left-hand side. So backup lamp is fed through pin 3. Stop lamp is fed through pin 6. Okay. Let's quickly go to connector view here. And let us look for, highlight here, and let us look for O19, right? So pin 3 and pin 6, these are quite far from each other, impossible to inject voltage from 3 to 6. All right, that is, let me leave this, oh no, let me just close this out. Let's go to the right hand. So we've got 6 for stop lamp and also 3 for the combination lamp. So it's impossible for that to inject. How else can we? I'm not seeing any other way we can inject voltage. There is a center stop lamp here. This is U8 pin 2. There is no other way we can inject voltage across this connector unless there is a problem physically wrong in the combination lamp itself that is causing the issue. So what I want to do is to start on the right hand side. I'm going to come here and I want to disconnect my stop lamp connector O21, and then we hit the brake and see if our injection is still there or it's gone. Okay, we see some tampering with this wiring here. This is a stop lamp and the red and black should be our backup lamp. So the red and black is unmolested, so this wiring has nothing to do with anything. So what we'll do is we're going to disconnect this over here. Oops. Okay, so let's look at this. Doesn't seem to be any corrosion on that. All right. So with that disconnected, let's go hit the brake and see whether we are still injecting voltage into the reverse signal. Okay, here we are. Let's hit the brake. And what do you know? What do you see? No more bleed. There is a problem with the combination lamp itself. The connector doesn't seem to have an issue, but the combination lamp itself has an issue. I'm going to check out that combination lamp and see if we could potentially have something over there that's crossing around, but that's our problem. The rear right combination lamp is bleeding voltage across the wires. So I've looked at this connector and there's no corrosion here. This connector is clean. This brown glittery black stuff is just automotive paint. They sprayed the paint without protecting this, so that's what that is. But we don't have any corrosion. And looking at our combination lamp, there's no corrosion here whatsoever. And you can't even have corrosion bridge these because they're so far apart. So we're not dealing with a corrosion problem, so I need to look away from the corrosion. First of all, we do not have any pins close together enough for us to be able to inject voltage via corrosion. Second, we don't even have the corrosion. So we know that disconnecting this line has restored our reverse circuit, which means the problem is here. But what is the problem? Let's go back to our wiring diagram. And if you look at our wiring diagram here, I want you to note something. We are on the left side of the car. Look at this. Combination lamp, stop lamp, has got ground on pin 5. Let's go to this. Combination lamp, backup lamp, also has a ground on pin 5. If we come here physically to the combination lamp, we are going to see that the ground is this one because it is shared. So it comes here, comes all the way. Is it the one? No, sorry. The ground is this one because it comes here, shares with this, and it comes here and shares with this. So that is the ground terminal. So if I do this, this is my ground terminal. Now, looking at that ground terminal, I don't see really anything wrong with that terminal. It seems to have good continuity. But my issue is this. Is there a possibility that this ground wasn't connecting very well? If that's the case, if you go back here, what will happen if you hit the stop lamp? Voltage will come here, come here, come here, and then it wants to find a ground. If voltage comes here and does not find a good ground here, it's going to loop back through pin 5 through the backup lamp. So in so doing, we'll light up this backup lamp, and we will have a voltage drop across this lamp, but also have voltage on this circuit, which will light up this other lamp and will backfeed upwards and go to our circuits for the reverse on the dash and on the shifter. That is the only thing that I think is happening here. So what I want to do is, let's come here. I want to put this back before I do anything. And then I'm going to connect this back. And then we are going to interrogate this ground here and also out on the line here. And since I see this has got a point here that has been teed into, we're also going to interrogate the ground on this point. So 3 channels. Channel A will check the ground here. Channel B will check the ground here. And channel C will check the ground here. Why am I doing A, B, and C? Because I want to see if we have a bad ground here, but a good ground on this point, then the problem is the connector pin. If we have a bad ground here, a bad ground here, but a good ground here, then the problem is inside this section over here. Why am I not worried about the ground itself, which is this point here, OD? Because we do not have this problem on the right, and they both share that ground point. So this ground point is good. We have a connection issue on this ground that is causing voltage to feed back up here and is using this other combination lamp as a ground. So let me hook up the Pico with those 3 channels, and then we observe and see what we're going to have. All right, here are my setups. Channel A, we are still on the reverse line over there because we want to see the injection voltage there. I think we're getting close to 4 volts out of that line. So that will be my trigger line, and I'll show you how I'll set up my scope to trigger from that line. And then channel B, we have the common ground inside the combination lamp, that is before the connector. And then channel C, which is this green one here, we have the ground that comes out of that connector. And then channel D, which is that yellow one, we have the same ground line but after my splice point here, because this one potentially there's some corrosion over here that has discontinued that ground line or compromised that ground line. So I want to see, is this ground line secure or not? I don't want to open that unless I really have to. So those are my points. Now coming to the Pico, we are going to trigger off of channel A. If you see here, I'm triggering off of channel A, and we know that we were injecting around 4 volts on this line, so I've put my trigger point around 2 volts. So when I start my scope, watch what will happen. And I've put everything on the same plane, the same line. A, B, C, and D, they're all on the same line. It's easy to see voltage changes or voltage shifts when everything's on the same line. Now that scope looks like it has stopped, but it actually hasn't, because when I hit the brake, the blue channel will go up like this here, and since I've set it to a single shot, it means it'll trace up until it hits the end, and then my scope will stop and wait for me. So I'm not going to lose my capture. All right, let's go to the front of the car, and we're going to hit the brake. All right, we're ready, and let's hit the brake. We hit the brake, and our reverse is on, and that off. Let's go back and look at our capture. And as you can see, the scope has paused, and that is beautiful. We are done. Do you see what the problem is? Pause here and have a little think before I tell you what the issue is, but I've seen the problem right here. Okay, so the problem is we have a bad ground and it is from the connector itself. How do I know that? Look at the red channel. The red channel is the ground inside the combination lamp. Notice the ground has gone up. That ground has elevated. And the reason why it has elevated is because we do not have a good ground there. Okay? So because that ground has elevated, basically there's no ground inside here. So it's looking for a ground. So where does it get the ground from? It'll backfeed through the reverse lamp and then find the ground on the other reverse lamp on the right. So this is what it's doing. This is disconnected inside the combination lamp at the connector. All right? Not the backup lamp, sorry, the stop lamp. This is disconnected at the connector. We don't have this ground number 5. So when we hit the brake, 12 volts comes here, does not find a ground, but is still connected via that connector to this internal ground. And remember, all of them are shared. So what does it do? Electricity will find its next best path. The next best path is it'll travel from this wire here. It'll go all the way around through the backup lamp, and then will come out of the backup lamp here. And that is the voltage we are seeing. And then will come through this junction, go through this, hit the other backup lamp, and then go to ground. But in so doing, it also injects this whole place with voltage. Now the question is, why do we have the voltage decreasing? It's because the voltage is coming in, not finding a ground, coming out of the stop lamp ground. So this is the stop lamp ground that is coming out of, goes through the combination lamp reverse bulb, and that will drop the voltage. And then that is what we are seeing here. And then it will go to the other side. So we are actually done. We have a bad connection here. So let's clean that ground, make sure the pin has a good fitment, and we'll connect this back and then do our tests again. All right, with this here on the bench, it'll be easier for you to see what I'm talking about, and you'll see where the back feed is. So this is our ground, and this is our ground output. This pin over here. Okay, there is a bad connection between this pin and the connector housing that mates in here, the female connector that mates in here. So this male connector and the female connector are not touching very well on the ground, or not touching at all. So what happens is, follow this path. When we hit the brake, we send power through this. 12 volts comes here, which is connected to this. 12 volts will go up here. This is our brake lamp. It'll go through the brake lamp, and then it wants to find a ground on this side. So ideally it should come here, come around, and find the ground here. But since there's no ground output, where does it go? It finds the next best ground. So what will happen is that it'll come here, go around town, come here, and this is the reverse lamp, goes through the reverse lamp, comes here, and this is where we see the voltage drop, because that reverse lamp is going to light up partially. So we saw around 8 volts here on this ground. When it comes here, it drops down to around 4 volts, and then that 4 volts now will come out through the reverse line. And when it comes down through the reverse line, it injects 4 volts on our reverse line, and that turns on our combination meter at the front, the reverse lamp, and also the shifter. And also the transmission control computer will also notice that you are engaged in reverse, because it needs at least 3 volts on that line. Okay, so that is our problem. We need to clean up this terminal And then we need to come here and tighten this terminal. So I'll open this connector and tighten that terminal up, and then we're going to retake our captures and see whether we've solved our problem. Fantastic. So I've depinned this, and look at that. I can see right through that pin. I'm not supposed to be able to see through that pin like that. So this pin has got poor contact, and just to verify, I come here and I take one of my probes, which is the same size as the male pins. Let's put that inside here. And I shouldn't be able to just pull this off, and you can see it's just pulling off without any resistance. So let's fix that pin. There is a spring tension, a tensioning spring behind the pin right in there. We're just going to push it down so that we close that gap that is over there, and then we're going to try our resistance check again, and that should be it. So right in here is where that pin is. I'm just going to push it down. I keep calling it a pin, it's a spring. All right, give it a nice push, and now if we take a look in there, you will notice that you can't see through. Can that show up? I don't know. Let's try it now with our pin here, and see that? Now we've got good contact over there. We're done. We're going to put it back inside here. And by the way, guys, learn to depin this thing and pin them in properly so you don't spoil your connectors. And that's it. So let's reconnect the lamp and then do our tests. All right, all done. Connected back, and we've connected our points exactly as we did before. Let's start the scope. Scope is running. Let's go and hit the brake. All right, here's the truth moment. We hit the brake, and no reverse light activated there. No reverse activated on the shifter as well. I like that. Let's do it 2 more times. Very nice. All right, let's go quickly and see the scope. Let's pause that. And very good. Now we have a good ground, and our work here is done. 2002 Land Cruiser Prado with a bad ground on the rear left combination lamp, causing a backfeed on the reverse circuit and putting the car into limp mode. Very nice diagnosis. Until next time.